So, good evening, everybody. We last time we covered three verses of second chapter, but they were very important verses because when Arjun resigned from the battle and said that he's just too upset about fighting and killing his own relatives, and he doesn't see any good coming out of the battle, even if the Pandavas won. And then Sri Krishna told him to give up his weak-heartedness and get up to fight. And he also told implicitly about three yardsticks that anyone can apply whenever one is confused, when his mind tells him to do something. And he's confused because his perspective has been distorted by abnormal mental state. Either he's too angry, or he's too depressed, or he's too sorrowful, whatever it may be. But when the mental state is not normal, then the senses do not behave normally. The mind thinking doesn't behave normally, and mind pollutes the intellect also. So intellect also cannot come up with a proper logic. It does come up with some kind of consistent logic, but not proper logic. And in that situation, Sri Krishna told the three yardsticks you can apply, then you can really know what you have to do in that situation. What is your dharma according to your conscience? Anarya Justam. You should see whether the Aryas or the good people or the people you consider good would do that or not. Aswargyam, the rationality aspect, that what will be the ultimate outcome of this action that you propose to do, and whether that is desirable or not. The third, that if becomes publicly known what you want to do, whether the people will approve of it or not, whether people will think good of it. Akirtikaram. And then he said that the weakness that you have got is very small. You can get rid of it just like that. Nothing is to be, no procedure to be done. No battles have been fought for this weakness. Just get up and fight. That's all. Now Arjun again presents his difficulties in these verses that we are going to take up, but it is of a different type. Earlier he was telling that it is not good. It will not good to the to the family to kill them, because there are so many uh, defects that he has recounted of killing your own people, killing your friends, and things like that. So he was on an intellectual plane. Now he is on emotional plane. So what does he say? Arjunavacha. Katham Bhishmamaham Sankhe Dronam cha Madhusudana Ishubhe Pratiyot Syami Ujarha Varisudana. Arjun says, "O Madhusudan, Katham Bhishma Maham Sankhya, how will I fight in the battle with people like Bhishma and Drona, with the arrows, because they are worthy, hey, O Arisudan, or destroyer of enemies, they are worthy of worship. How can you tell me to attack people with arrows and give them, kill them and give them pain? The people who are worthy of worship, how is it possible? I just don't feel like doing. And then he goes back, partly intellectually. Guruna hatva himahanubhavan shreyo bhoktum bhaikshyamapi haloke hatvartha kamastu guru nihaiva bhunjiya bhogan rudhira pradigdhan. He said that, and after all, what do I get by killing these great people who have made such a big contribution? Bhishma Pitama, the very learned person, the great warrior who has done so much good to the family, and the Drona, my teacher, who has taught us everything. By killing these people who are teachers and great people, I think as compared to that, I prefer living by begging. That is, I think, is better for me. Shreya word is the use. That is Shreya for me. In Sanskrit, there are two words used, Shreya and Preya. Shreya is what should be done, what is good in the long run. Ultimately, what is good for you, that is Shreya. And Preya is what is palatable, what appears pleasant at the moment. So Arjun says that I consider it better, worth doing, to live by begging instead of killing such great people. Because after all, even after killing these teachers, the respected people, whatever I get to enjoy, Bhogan, they'll be tainted with the blood of them, tainted with the blood of my own people, my own relatives, my teachers, my respectable teachers. So, I mean, both ways, I think it is Shreya, it is better for me not to kill them in this way, just for the sake of the worldly enjoyments. Secondly, I don't even feel like doing that because I have so much regard for them. Then he says, "Na chaitadvidma kataranno gariyo yatva jayem yadivano jayeyu yanev hatva न जिजीविषामस्तेव स्थिता प्रमुखे धार्तराष्ट्रा." He says, and also there is another difficulty. Nacha etad vidmah. We do not know. We do not know this. What do we not know? Kataran na gariyah. What is better for us? That means whether to fight is better or not fight is better. I mean, Arjun is confused. He knows that his dharma is telling him to fight. Because after all, a Kshatriya, the, the foremost dharma of a Kshatriya is to fight against injustice, to protect the weak who cannot protect themselves because they are too weak. That is his dharma. He has to fight. So he says that we do not know in the balance what is better. Whether to fight and kill our own people, but protect the dharma perhaps, or not fight. Because and accept, that we don't want the kingdom, we don't want such a life which is devoid of our own people, our own relatives. And moreover, the people who are come to fight us, who are face to face with us, the sons of Dhritarashtra, they are the ones whom after killing them also we don't want to live. There is no point in living after killing them because they are so dear to us. They are our close relatives. Now Arjun has forgotten whatever wrongs they had done to Pandavas, but he just says that we are ties with the bond of blood and they are our relatives. I love them all the same. They might be unjust, they might have done wrong things to us, might have been very unfair to us, but Arjun's fair-mindedness, Arjun's human emotions, Arjun's love for their family, in spite of their rights or wrongs, is telling him to say that we do not want to live after killing our own people. And the next verse is very, very important and very crucial, I should say. Karpanya dosho pahata svabhava pritchami tvam dharma samudha cheta yacheyasya nishchitam ब्रूहि तन्मे शिष्यस्तेऽहं शाधि मां त्वां प्रपन्नम्. कार्पण्य दोष कार्पण्य दोष अपहत्तस स्वभावः. My attitude has been distorted by karpanya dosh, by the defect of, limited thinking. My thinking has become limited. My attitude has become limited. I am not able to see clearly. My perspective has been limited. Well, I am not able to clearly see what I should do, and I am not able to judge also which is better for me, because my mental state is not normal. I am too much aggrieved by the thought of that I am going to kill my own people, my own friends, relatives, uncles, grandsires, children, grandchildren, teachers, and all other relatives. So I admit that my perspective has become distorted and limited. Karpanit. So I ask you, Dharma Sammudha Cheta, because I am confused, my mind is confused about the Dharma. What is my Dharma at this juncture? So, Yat Shreya, whatever is Shreya for me. Earlier he had used this word, saying that he thinks that Shreya lies in begging, in living by begging rather than killing old people. But now he says, I am confused. So tell me, what is good for me? Yat Shreya Syat, whatever may be good for me, Nishchitam Bruhitan me. Please tell me clearly. Please tell me decidedly what is good for me, what is better for me. Shishya te aham, Shishyas te aham. I am your disciple. Shadimam, teach me. Tvam prapannam. I have surrendered to you. Now this is very important because the spiritual knowledge differs from other knowledges, worldly knowledges. I remember that when I was studying in the university, I knew it very well that whatever teacher has taught is very good. One should understand that. But you cannot give examination only on the basis of that. You have to enrich by your own reading, by your own analysis, and by developing your own thoughts and methods in investigation. So what you have learned from your teacher in mathematics or physics or history or geography or whatever has to be not only digested, but enriched by one's own thinking, one's own intellectual analysis. Not so with spiritual knowledge, I can assure you. In spiritual knowledge, first of all, the knowledge does not flow until a disciple and guru relationship has been established. It just does not flow. Now, some people may say that, okay, we will read Bhagavad Gita because so many people praise it, though I don't know how many understand it. And after reading, I will judge for myself whether it is worth following or not, or whether it is good or not, or to what extent it is good or not. This attitude will give you partial knowledge. It will give you knowledge, not because there are many aspects of Bhagavad Gita which are absolutely practical, which they do not require any spiritual beliefs. Also. Even if you don't believe in God, even if you don't believe in the immortality of the soul, even then it would make sense to you. It will still guide you, your life, practical life. But the spiritual knowledge will be missing. For spiritual knowledge, these three things are necessary. Shishya steham. I am your disciple. Please teach me. Now, and I have surrendered to you. That means whatever you tell you, I am not going to question. I am not going to doubt. I mean, I may raise questions or queries if I don't understand. But I will never try to judge it for myself. I will not allow my intellect to sit in judgment whether what you say is correct or not. This is very, very important point. I must emphasize it. I can't overemphasize it. So as long as you think that whatever you have read or listened or thought, and whatever some great saint also might have told you, okay, we will then refer it to intellect and ask the intellect whether it is right or wrong. And then whatever intellect says, you accept. That will not do here. It will do in worldly subjects like history, geography, mathematics, science, whatever, no, economics, but not here. Here, the flow of knowledge will not start unless a clear relationship of guru and disciple has been established, master and disciple has been established, and the disciple has surrendered to the teacher. So here, Arjun has done that. Arjun has explained his thinking. He has explained how he's feeling. He has explained what his intellect is telling him. He has also admitted that he has not able to come to a proper judgment because he can see that his perspective has been overwhelmed by emotions, by grief, etc. And therefore, I need guidance, and I don't need ordinary guidance. I need guidance from a spiritual point of view, and for that purpose, you are my teacher, you are my guru. There is a difference between teacher and guru. Teacher will say that, look, I have told you what I have read. Now it is for you to check or whatever you do. You may accept it, no, but not so with guru. With guru, whatever guru says is the word of law. So you are my guru, and I am surrendered. So actually, even before, as I said earlier, in the Kutastva Kashmalamidam Vishame Samupasthitam, Anarijushtam Aswargyam Akirti Karamarj. In this shloka itself, the entire knowledge is there, but it did not flow, obviously. It did not flow, otherwise I would not have come up with these arguments again. Why did it not flow? Because this channel had not been established. The channel of Guru and disciple, with the disciple surrendering to Guru, had not been established. Now only the channel is established. So, but still, Arjun goes on. After surrendering, he now describes his mental condition, his problem, once again, so that he may get the guidance. Nahi prapashyami mamapanutyat yachhokamuchoshanamindriyanam avapya bhuma vasapatnamriddham Rajyam Suranamapi Chadhipatyam. He says that I am not able to see any way out of this grief, which is drying up my senses. Even if I kill all my enemies and I get a kingdom which cannot be won over by anybody, and not only even if I get the kingdom of gods, even then, and of course with the knowledge that I already have, which I have read all the Vedas and Shastras and whatever teachings are there. I have that knowledge also. I am a very able-headed person. I think I'm balanced and fair-minded generally. But at present, I have overcome with that kind of grief, which cannot be solved by any knowledge that I know, by any situation, worldly situation. Now, these are very important points. I want to dwell a little bit of them. Very often, we think that our problems, our grief, our pain, our frustration, our despondency is on account of the worldly situation. It is absolutely wrong. It is not. Because sometimes you will see, if you see properly, you will see that sometimes you are happy in spite of problems. Sometimes you are unhappy even when there is no problem. Sometimes you think that if this problem is solved, I'll be happy. I don't want anything else. Only this problem should be solved. And lo and behold, that problem is solved and you are not happy. Because immediately you are thinking of, either thinking whether this problem may come back or some other problem may arise, who knows, whatever it may be. So the happiness or the grief or the absence of grief cannot be solved, as Arjun clearly says, by fighting battles, by winning over enemies, by establishing kingdoms, by having huge empires. So after this battle, I will fight. I can fight other battles also, and I can win over the entire earth. Not only that, I can probably with my spiritual powers that I have, I use the word power in the spiritual power. So I'm emphasizing the word power. If I can even get the kingdom of gods, what to say of the earth? But even then, I don't see any way out of this grief that I have. Who will give me back the dead relatives that whom I will kill? Who will give me back the happiness that I have while enjoying life with relatives, loving the people, paying respects to the elders, loving the younger. So now another point. The way out of the grief is not intellectual analysis. It will not help you. You will find, on the contrary, that people who are more intellectual, more argumentative, more analytical type, they get very easily frustrated. Why? Because the intellect has no solution for them. Intellect is only an instrument. It cuts both ways. Sometimes it may give you the solution. Sometimes it may emphasize the problem and tell you that there is no solution. What will you do now? So he knows that he has no solution of his grief. And unless that grief is sorted out, he cannot fight also. And he cannot not fight also, because the grief is there either way. So this way, Arjun has now clearly stated his mental condition. And now in the next verse, he's also going to tell him what he feels like doing. Sanjay Uvach. Evam Hokta Rishikesham Gudakesha Parantapa Nayosya Iti Govindamokta Tushlim Babhuva. Sanjay said that having spoken like this to Rishikesh, Rishikesh is the name of Sri Krishna because he had his senses under control. He's the master of his senses. He had controlled his senses and mind. So he was called Rishikesh. Gudakesha, the Arjun, O Parantap, he is addressing Dhritarashtra. He said, I will not fight. Saying this to Govind, he became silent. He fell silent. Now people may say that once he has surrendered to Sri Krishna, why should he say that I will not fight? What he really means to say is that with this mental state, I will not fight. Either you tell me that, okay, don't fight, that it is better for you not to fight, or you correct my mental state. Give me that knowledge which will uplift my mental state and bring me to a situation where I am able to fight wholeheartedly. I don't want to fight half-heartedly. I don't want to fight with this kind of grief and this mental state which I have right now. So over to you, Lord. Either you tell me what is right. If you tell me that not fighting is right for me, well, that's it. I'm still not very happy, but well, at least I got the solution. Or if you tell me that fighting is a must for me according to my dharma, then please correct my mental state and make me understand why it is better for me to fight. And what is the flaw in the argument that I have been giving. So now, Tamuvacha Rishikesha Prasanneva Bharat Senayorubhayormadhye Vishidantamidam Vacha. This is Sanjay only speaking. So, O Bharat, that is O Dhritarashtra, in the middle of the both the armies and grieving to the grieving Arjun, Rishikesh spoke these words, like a bit as if smilingly. Prahasan ev tam uvaj. He spoke to him, Rishikesha, the Lord Rishikesh. Prahasan ev, as if smiling. O Bharat, Dhritarashtra, Senayoh Ubayoh Madhye, in between both the army, Vishidantam, the person who was grieving. These words. Now you see me, what a friend. Shri Krishna, one must have friends like him. That you are sad and he is smiling. Is he making fun of me? You don't expect people to smile when you are sad. You expect people to sympathize with you. If you are telling a horror story about yourself, or if you are telling you something terrible, and if you tell somebody that you feel terrible, is he expected to smile? So why did he smile? Very important. The first lesson he has already given. What is that? I have the solution of it. And that is why I'm smiling. So it is a hint to Arjun that I have the solution. So don't worry. The central lesson of Bhagavad Gita is don't worry. Worrying is never justified under any circumstance. Anyway, we'll come to that later. But here, he has already assured Arjun that he has the solution of all his problems that he has mentioned. And just a minute. So even without saying even a word of Upadesha, teaching, he has assured Arjun that he has the solution. So don't. Now somebody, I have lost something valuable. I am searching for frantically. Then I ask my wife, have you seen it? She smiles. What does it mean? It means that I should stop worrying about it. Either she's joking or she has it. Otherwise, she would be worried too. Okay. Sri Bhagwan. Now the proper Upadesha start. In fact, people have asked that how was it possible for Sri Krishna to give such a long lecture in the middle of battlefield? Even if you do just a parayan of it, it would take 3-4 hours. Where was the time? And do you think the army were standing still? Well, my Guruji has said that all this knowledge was transmitted by a process of yogic transmission. And very few words were spoken. Probably 7 verses, people say, whatever. But very few words were spoken. And the entire knowledge was transmitted by internally, without any words and even without any thoughts. Just transmitted heart to heart by a process which is known as yogic transmission. So, anyway, and for the benefit of all of us, that same knowledge has been elaborated by Sri Vedavyas in the form of this, what we read as Srimad Bhagavatam. So Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. Ashocyananvashocastam prajnavadanscha bhashase gatasunagatasumscha nanushochanti pandita. Sri Bhagavan says that you are grieving for people who are not who should not be grieved for, and yet you are speaking like learned people. But the learned people do not grieve for those who have left their body, those who have died, and those who have not died. Very, very intense verse. He says that, indirectly he means to say that although you are speaking like learned people, whatever you have said, it is based on knowledge and it is based on scriptures. It is based on what is taught by teachers to gurus. So you are speaking like learned people, but your behavior is not like learned people because you are grieving where you should not grieve for. You are grieving for those for whom you should not grieve. And he says that because they really learned people who have not only read or listened to the words of wisdom, but also who have absorbed it in their system, which has gone into their behavior in their daily life. Those people, they do not grieve for the people who have died. Gatasun means whose pranas have gone away, who have become dead. Life has gone from them. And agatasun means those where pranas have not gone. They are still alive. So the people, really learned people do not grieve for living people as well as the people who are dead. What does it mean? They don't grieve for anybody. They don't grieve at all. That is the meaning. So grieving is a sign of ignorance. Grieving is a sign that you might have read literature, shastras and everything, but you have not put them into practice. You have not digested them. They have not become a part of your system. They have not entered your way of thinking and your way of behaving. So indirectly, what is he telling Arjun? That although you speak like a pandit, you speak like a learned person, you are not a learned person. That is indirectly what he wants to say, but he's too polite to say that directly. So he's saying like, so teaching is, what is the teaching? Never grieve for it. Never worry. Never have shoka. Why? Because it will never solve any problem. Very simple. It will only distort your mind. It will only distort your perspective. It will only induce you to do wrong action. It will only make you unhappy. It will not help. It will never help to worry. It will never have to grieve. Temporary shocks are fine. After all, when the trees are there, and if there is a high wind, then the tree shakes a bit, but should not get uprooted. When the wind is over, the tree should come back to its own position. So grieving in the sense that, don't really be worried about it. When you may get a temporary shock, okay, but don't keep worrying about it. So now next thing is, now he explains also why it is. Natvevaham jatunasam natvam neme janadhipa न चैव न भविष्यामः सर्वे Vayamataha param. There was no time when I was not there, you were not there, and these kings were not. And there will be never a time when all of us will not be there. Natu eva aham. It is not like this that one day we were not there, I was not there, you were not there. That means we have all been, you, I, and these kings. That means the entire, everybody has been there since the very beginning. There was never a time when they were not there, and we will all be there in the future also. So nobody is going away anywhere. Now, in other words, the whatever happens, the word here used, although Kal word is not used, but meaning is that the time has no effect on us. We are always there in the past, in present, and future. So what is there to worry about? After all, ultimately, every worry must link up to oneself. Why am I worried? Somebody says, no, it's a matter of great worry. And the natural question is, but who is worried? I am worried. Why are you worried? You were there when nothing was there. You are here, and you will be there when nothing will be there. So why are you worried? So that is what he wants to say, that the ultimate reality of me, you, and all these kings is immutable. It was always there and will always be. So be assured of this. Then what happens? Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara tatha dehantara praptir dhirastatra namuhyati. Now he is using a new word, dehi. Dehi means body, and dehi means the owner of the body. So he is distinguishing between deh and dehi, the body and its owner. So what he is saying is that for the person, for the owner of the body, in the body there are various states like adolescence, youth, and old age. Just as these things are there for the owner of the body, similarly there is another state also, disembodied state, when there is no body. But the owner of the body is still there. The owner is still there. Like a farmer who has a field. So the field may grow or not grow good grains. That's a different matter. It may keep giving different kinds of protection. But one day he gets fed up, so he sells up the field. But he is still there. He doesn't go away with the field. So even if the body goes away, the owner of the body is intact. That is what he said. And for him, the state of the body's adolescence, body's youth, body's old age is the same as the state without a body. So therefore, one who understands this thoroughly is not never confused. And one who understands that he is called Dhir. Dhir means also a person who never worries because he is stable. There is a sense of stability in Dhir. So Dhira Satranamuhya, the person who is Dhir, who has become stable after digesting, after imbibing this knowledge, he is never confused because he doesn't care for the body. Body is an instrument. He works with the body, And when the time comes to give up the body, he gives up the body. And perhaps if he needs, he takes another body and goes on. Or if he doesn't need the body, he just goes on without the body. He is not affected. Then what happens? What is the source of all the sorrows, happiness and unhappiness, and grief and all that? Pleasures. Matra sparshastu konte शीतोष्ण सुख दुःखदा आगमापायिनो नित्यास्तांस्तितिक्षस्व Bharat. So he says that all these experiences of hot and cold, etc., hot and cold, happiness, grief, etc., they arise because of the contact of sense organs with their senses. When we see something beautiful, we feel happy. Why? Because the eye has seen something beautiful. So the eye has come in contact with something which looks beautiful. So we are happy. When the eye sees something ugly, we are unhappy. Again, it is on account of the contact of the eye, the sense of vision, with something which doesn't look very nice to the eye. Similarly about the ears, similarly about the sense of touch, similarly about the sense of taste, and the sense of smell, and also above all, the mind also is should be considered as a sense. It is the internal sense, it is the master of all senses. But in a sense, it is also a sense. So what happens? You are now sitting peacefully, there is no problem. Suddenly a thought arises. What if this happens? You start thinking about it. You start pursuing that thought and you are unhappy. So what is the cause of? Again, the contact of your mind with a thought, which brings you worry. If the mind contacts a comforting thought, then you are happy. That is the point I was making earlier. That it is the cause of happiness and sorrow. What we call happiness is only the contact of senses with their sense objects, including the mind. And there is no problem at present. Just sitting nicely, everything is fine. But suddenly a thought arises, what if a problem arises? What if there is an earthquake just now? What if there is a fire somewhere? What if something, thought is a thought, mind is just a machine. It can create any thought. And if you start pursuing it, you are immediately unhappy. So, Sri Krishna says that, O Kante, O Arjun, the cause of all these experiences, which are good and bad experiences, is only the contact of the senses with the sense object. And they are agama payano. They come and go. They never stay. If you are happy today, you will not always be happy. If you are unhappy today, you will always not be unhappy. It depends. So don't bother about them. And they are anitya. They are temporary. Therefore, oh Bharat, oh Arjun, bear with them. What does the doctor say when the patient says, doctor, the injection is hurting? He says, bear it. It is in long term, it will be good for you. So bear it. So what does a physiotherapist says when he says that, doctor, if you press this limb, then it hurts. You are pressing this limb, but it is hurting me. He said, bear with it. It will not hurt you always. It is now hurting you. Fine. But afterwards, it will no longer be hurt. So why should you worry about something? Why should a person who was always there and who will always be there unchanged worry about something which changes, which is temporary, and which arises only because of, now we see waves in the water. When there is a wind, the waves arise. Now, we cannot tell the wind to stop forever. Wind will sometimes stop, sometimes the wind will be there, and the waves will arise. We bear with them. It's fine. So he says that just bear whatever you feeling, whatever happens, whatever the bodily or worldly pleasures and sorrows are there, they are as a result of your contact with the sense. Then he says also, why should you wear there? What is the advantage of not bothering up? Why should they not be allowed to torment you? He says, Yam hina vyathayante te purusham purusharshab samaso samadukha sukham dhiram sumrtatvaya kalpate. The best of Purushan. He is addressing Arjun as the best of Purushan. And he says that to whom? To that Purush, whom these things do not torment, these tidings of happiness and sorrow, and who is the same, who bears with them equally, who tolerates the happiness and sorrow with equanimity. He is called Dheer again because he is stable, like a tree which may shake a little in high wind, but it remains, does not get uprooted or even broken. So only he is eligible for immortality. So if you want to go to spiritual plane, if you want to experience the immortality of which I have told you that you are immortal. Not only you, I am immortal, you are immortal, and everybody else is immortal. But then you say how to experience it. This is the way to experience it. Firstly, don't care for happiness and sorrow. Don't care for the experiences of senses and sense organs. Bear them patient. Go through them patient. And then only the person who is able to be the same, unaffected by the sorrow and happiness, he alone is eligible for immortality, for experiencing, or rather experiencing immortality, because immortality is a fact. But you can experience it only if you raise your attitude to this level that you are not tormented by the temporary experiences of happiness and sorrow. So I think we stop here and I take questions if there are any. I forget what was the question in writing you gave me. I forget.
Uncle,
I can
one
take.
of the request was, can you put the shlokas on, can you share the shlokas? Was one of the questions. One of the questions was, can you share the shlokas with us ahead of time? And Uncle, can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I can't understand what you say.
Okay. नहीं, गायत्री ने request किया था कि आप श्लोका डाल सकते हैं on the chat box, or if there is any other PDF or something that you recommend, we would like to read that.
हमको आता नहीं है, I will have to learn it.
Okay. Okay, Uncle, then the next question is, I had a question. And my question is, from last week's lecture, Arjuna says, family and value systems will be lost. I remember that shloka. So, is he confused? Is this confusion coming from his mind? Or has he been taught in books, and by other people, relatives and friends?
Now I recollect.
Yes.
Actually, this is as Sri Krishna also says that you are speaking like a scholar. So he has read it, and there is nothing wrong with what Arjuna has said. There is nothing wrong. I will not call it even confusion. Only thing is that he is not able to decide what is better in the balance. So the defects that he has enumerated, they are correct. Of course, they are based on certain beliefs. They are based on certain ritualistic beliefs. But those beliefs and those traditions are a part of our society, and we do observe them. But that doesn't mean that they are all important, and there can be nothing better than that. So it is not a wrong understanding of the scriptures, but it is a unbalanced analysis of the defects and advantages in a certain situation. After you have to compare what is better. So Sri Krishna has not even bothered to reply to them. And he will never reply to them in the entire Bhagavad Gita. Because that is, otherwise he would have said that, no, you are wrong here. The Shastra do not say this, they say this. He has not said that. Because Arjuna, of course, was a great scholar. He would not quote something wrong. But only thing is that his spiritual state is not lifted to sufficient level, where these things become unimportant and other things become important. And moreover, one more thing, you see, after all, we are all given a body to do something. We are not given a body just to enjoy life, or just we, of course, we may not understand what we have to do, but if we we overcome our ego and selfishness, then we will be able to see what the Lord wants us to do. And then that is our dharma. That is our niyat karma. And that is our duty. So duty is foremost. So Arjuna is getting confused about duty. So whatever he has said in the first chapter, that's correct. Nothing wrong with it.
I had a very different question for you. Of the 5 Pandavas and so many other warriors in Kshatriyas in this story, Yudhishthira also is not happy about war, from what we know, from what I have read. Why Arjuna?
Why Arjuna? What?
Why Arjuna is the only one who was chosen?
Because he is the only one eligible for the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita.
So he is the one with the Sthita Prajna qualities?
Yeah. He is the only one. Actually, Yudhishthira, after the war, Yudhishthira was overcome with tremendous grief. And then that grief did not go even after Sri Krishna explained to him. He did not go. Ultimately, he went to Bhishma Pitama. And Bhishma Pitama gave a very, very long lecture, which is in one of the volumes of Gita Press, Gorakhpur, say about 1,000 pages or so are devoted to that. I should say 1/6 of the Mahabharata is devoted to the teachings of Bhishma Pitama to Yudhishthira. Even after that grief did not go. So, again, the different people have different personalities and they have different spiritual levels and different capabilities of rising to spiritual level. You did not ask me why did Krishna not give the knowledge to Duryodhan. After all, he went as a messenger. He could have explained Bhagavad Gita to Duryodhan. But Duryodhan would not have accepted it. So here the opportunity is that here is a person who is very balanced, very fair-minded, and eligible number one for the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. And yet he has developed a weakness, which is the motive force for the flow of. So that is why Arjuna Vishad Yoga, that is also a yoga. The first chapter is also yoga. Arjuna Vishati Yoga. So Arjun is eligible. I mean, just because he's confused about dharma, it does not mean that he's a weak, lesser man. He's a very capable person. In fact, he is Nar. In the Nar Narayan, he is the Nar. He is a part of the divine personality.
Yes, and you mentioned last week that Bhagwan bolte hain ki you are my sakha.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
I think that's a beautiful, beautiful word.
But again, I will say, I'll make another request to all of you that consider whatever Arjun is, consider yourself to be the same.
Yes. Oh, yes, uncle. Yes.
So if he is Sakha of Arjun, he is your Sakha also. Take it from me. So when he tells Arjun later on that don't worry, Arjun, you have been born in the Devi Sampada. The same is applicable to whoever is reading that verse. So consider yourself to be Arjun always. And don't think that, look, oh, Arjun was very high. What am I? And all that. I think this is all nonsense. We are all one and the same.
And I really liked your example today where you said that when you're worried about something and your wife just says, she just smiles and she goes away. I love that example. That because she knows that it is just transient, it's going to pass away. And
no, she has got my purse.
Yes.
So she is smiling.
Yes.
So she may tease me a little. But I can understand that there's nothing to worry because she is smiling.
I really like that example. I really like that example of yours.
So the smile of Sri Krishna is very meaningful.
Yes. So,
and in fact, after this, Arjun has never grieved in the entire Bhagavad Gita. Because his smile itself assured him that he has the solution. He is going to get the solution. So how many people were today?
Today we are 4 of us, including you.
Huh.
But we will put this on this thing. Revati, you have any questions for uncle?
No, ma'am.
Yes.
Actually, I have to read it in order to understand more.
Sorry?
Then only I get the note.
Yes.
Yeah, but I thought that almost everybody must be having a copy of Bhagavad Gita.
Yes.
No, I don't have this now in my home. It is in my mother's house to bring it.
But Bhagavad Gita is available on internet.
Yes.
Everywhere. Everywhere it is available. You can take out a PDF of 10 verses or so, because I really don't know how to put it on screen and how will it help, because I'm reading out so you can listen to it. But I suggest that it is in PDF. It is available
Oh, yes.
in Sanskrit, English, Hindi, everything.
Okay.
I go now. Generally, I go by literal translation. But at times I will have to depart and go to a different situation. But that I will tell you also when I am doing that, and consider that to be again not from me, but from my Guru.
So, uncle, all.
Ma'am, I have a doubt.
Yes.
Can you please share this with sir?
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, so sorry.
No problem. No problem. Go ahead.
Ma'am, அந்த within டைம்க்குள்ள எப்படி அர்ஜுனாக்கு அவங்க உபதேசம் பண்ணாங்கன்னு சொல்லிட்டு சொன்னாங்க. இது வந்து பாசிபிள் கிடையாது. 4 hours ஆகும் அந்த மாதிரி. அதுக்கு வந்து யோகிக் டிரான்ஸ்மிஷன் ஏதோ சொன்னாங்க. அது கரெக்டான டேர்ம்
யோகிக் டிரான்ஸ்மிஷன் சொன்னா.
ஓகே, டிரான்ஸ்மிஷன். அதான் மேம் எழுதிக்கிட்டேன். தப்பா சொல்லிட கூடாது. வேற ஒண்ணு.
Have you heard of Shaktipat?
No, I have not heard of Shaktipat, uncle.
Okay, when at the time of leaving his body, Ramakrishna Paramhans had given his entire spiritual knowledge to Vivekananda. It is called Shaktipat But the only difference between Shakti path and yogic transmission is that Shakti path is too sudden and it creates a temporary disturbance in the person. But yogic transmission is something very smooth. So nowadays what they do is, in my case, for instance, my guru does it all the time when I meditate. That when I meditate, during my meditation, during the process of my meditation, he gives a transmission, which is beyond words and beyond thoughts. So I feel it only in the heart, and I cannot describe it in words. And then even one words or thought. And that is yogic transmission. So sometimes, when I speak or when I write, I don't even know what I'm going to speak because there are no thoughts about it. But I know that I have something to speak or something to write about. And then to what extent it gets converted into thoughts and words, I cannot see. But what I have got from a guru by yogic transmission is there in me. So it's a procedure which is done through heart-to-heart meditation. And of course, there are different kinds of meditation, very different kinds of meditation, are for different purposes also. But I am talking about a meditation which is, with the ultimate meditation, which is by which one can attain God, or one can attain the ultimate reality. So that knowledge can be only passed on by yogic transmission. This cannot be, even Kathopanishad says that this Atma cannot be revealed by reading or by listening or by thinking or by intellect. Ayam Atma prabhatiye na labdo na medaya na bahudha shukye. Yamai vesh vriste tene labda tamay vesh. So that means the Atma, whoever is considered fit, whoever is chosen by the Atma, only on him he reveals his true nature. So that is the process of yogic transmission. It is silent, not only in words, but in thoughts.
Wow. Uncle,
Thank you, sir. Yes.
I'm really happy. This question comes from our youngest audience, Gayatri. And Gayatri lives in a village nearby.
Very good.
And I think it's an excellent question.
It is an excellent question.
Excellent question, Gayatri. Excellent.
In fact, I am very pleasantly surprised by that question. And I didn't want to say anything about it until somebody asked that question. Because again, the same thing, without the appropriate level of curiosity, the spiritual knowledge does not flow. So first requirement is curiosity. Second requirement is the establishment of a channel of guru and disciple. And the third is total surrender to.
This is really nice.
Yes.
Can you give us another example from our scriptures of a example of, so for all of us to read, of yogic transmissions such as Ramakrishna Paramahamsa to Vivekananda? Any other that comes to your mind, Uncle?
There are so many. The Shakti path is very common. Shakti path is very common, where when the power is given, the spiritual power is given all of a sudden in a very short time. But yogic transmission is gradual. Generally, it is gradual. Of course, at that time in the battlefield, the Krishna with his superlative powers would have transmitted without disturbance also, because he could not have disturbed Arjuna. So he transmitted everything But otherwise, in the practice that I follow, it is gradual. Every time in my morning meditation, when I sit down, I get it from it. So I don't think the scriptures like Upanishads, etc., will say much about it. I have heard the word from my Guru, and I have understood also through his grace.
Uncle, like we know the story of Nachiketas. Nachiketas. It's a lovely story. So I'm just curious, was that also like yogic transmission, or was it encounter?
It has not been said so in the Upanishads, so I cannot say anything. But one thing is certain, that the best communication is by yogic transmission, not by words. This has been said many times, that in Maharshi Raman used to be silent.
Yes.
And the person who had the question, their question would get resolved straight away by his silence only. That is yogic transmission. There is a saying that one person came to Buddha and said that I have some questions, but Buddha remained silent. But another person, disciple of him, was sitting there. He started laughing. And he said, why are you laughing? I have questions to ask him, and what is there for you to laugh about? He said, I am laughing because whatever you want to ask, Buddha said that stay with me, and then after 1 year ask the question. Sorry, I was mixing up. So then this fellow laughed. And he said, why are you laughing? He said, if you want to ask now only. After 1 year, you will not ask any. The same thing happened to me. I also came with a lot of questions. He told me the same thing. I waited for 1 year and stayed with him. Now I don't ask those questions. So if you want the answers, then ask now. But then obviously it is better for the questions to be resolved rather than getting the intellectual answer.
Thank you.
Because all questions and their answers, they arise from ignorance. Somebody asked Maharishi Raman, I want jnana. He said, first find out who wants jnana. What is the status of that person who wants jnana? Then come to me. Another person came, he said, I have read all the scriptures. I have done all the shastras. I have done all the tapas. I have done all the yogic practices. I have been to all the pilgrimage. And still, I think I have not got spiritual knowledge. I have not realized. He said, first find out who has done all this. Who has read, who has been to pilgrimage, who has heard scriptures and all that, and who wants jnana. So question answer means the questioner is also in ignorance. The person who gives answer also is ignorant. And the real resolution comes in silence through yogic transmission from your Guru.
Thank you, Uncle Ji. And I am just fondly remembering Mani Uncle telling me about your experience with Ramana Maharishi. Yeah, I'm just fondly remembering that episode or event.
Yeah, he did guide me.
Yes,
a lot.
I remember that. Anyway, Uncle, I don't have any questions now, but I'm sure I will. And thank
Just
you.
collect them. I will take them whenever.
Yes, thank you very, very much for today.
All the best to you.
We will see you soon. And namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
GC, nice question. What a lovely question. Great question. You read about Ramakrishna.
Yes, ma'am.
Paramahamsa, and I have a small book that I just got from Sharda College. I'll give it to you. Easy reading.
Yes.
And then
மேம் இருக்கு, ஆச்சிக்கும் ஒண்ணு எனக்கும் ஒண்ணு கொடுத்தாங்க.
That's a very easy one.
Yes.
And the Parchenale, you get a book, and he's a very nice teacher.
இது நான் சின்ன வயசுல நான் யோசிச்சிருக்கேன் மேம், எப்படி இவர் நடந்துட்டு இருக்கா, இவர் பாட்டுக்கு உபதேசம் பண்ணுவாரோ அப்படின்னு யோசிச்சுட்டு நான் கேஷுவலா நடிச்ச ஒரு விஷயம் இன்னைக்கு எனக்கு ஆன்சர் மாதிரி வந்திருக்கு.
இல்ல கிளாஸ்ல நேர்ல சொல்லி கொடுத்தாலே புரியாது. யுத்தத்தை சொல்லி கொடுத்தானா
வேற வேலை இல்லையா, அங்கதான் செத்துட்டு இருக்கா, இப்ப உட்காந்து வாடா உனக்கு அட்வைஸ் பண்றேன்னு சொல்லுவாரோ அப்படின்னு நினைச்சிட்டு கேஷுவலா அந்த பிக்சரை பார்த்தாலே எனக்கு மனசு எந்த நேரத்துல எதை பேசுறேன்னு தெரியாதுன்ற மாதிரி நான் அதை கேட்பேன் மேம். அதுவும் சின்ன வயசுல அந்த போட்டோ பார்த்துட்டு காலே வலிக்காதவரு உட்கார்ந்துகிட்டே இருக்காரு அப்படின்ற மாதிரி இருக்கும். இப்படி கேட்ட மணிக்கே இருக்காரு.
இன்னொரு அழகான கதை வந்து நீ நச்சிகேதஸ் கதை ஆச்சிக்கு தெரியும்னு நினைக்கிறேன். ஆச்சி
Okay.
I'll probably tell you the story of that. Beautiful story.
Okay.
So, ma'am, will join pundit class in Marinda. Anyway, so we will see you next week.
Yes, 25th.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, ma'am.
Happy Shivratri.
Yes, madam mulikenu.
Yeah. Bye.
Ma'am, Kathy ma'am flight ஏறிட்டாங்க.
Yeah.
ஆமா.
Good.
நான் மத்தியானம் கொஞ்சம் லைட்டா தூங்கினேன். அப்போ ஏறாங்க டெர்மினல் 2 டெர்மினல் 3 தான் வருது எனக்கு மைண்ட்ல.
நம்ம தான் மோதி கூப்பிடுவோமே.
ஆமா.
சொன்னேன் எது வர்க் ஆகுனா நான் மோதி கூப்பிடுறேன்.
நீங்க சொன்னாங்கல்ல தாட்ஸ்.
Very nice lesson. Very nice lesson.
Yes.
உனக்கு என்ன புரியலையோ feel free to ask him. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Good night.
Thank you. Okay, ma'am.